Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
It is 6:07. Good morning. You're listening to O'Connor and Company this Friday, 13th day of February, and the day before Valentine's Day, and all the things that go along with it. And if you're in the glooms and you don't like the winter and the snow and the ice and all that, can I just tell you something? 1 week from today, our forecast shows a 66-degree day.
Hallelujah.
1 week from today, it's bikini weather. I mean, I'm not suggesting.
Folks, make sure you do those crunches now and those push-ups now. I mean,
you've got a week to get into shape. In 30 minutes, Nicki Neily, Defending Education. 7:05, we'll talk to Mark Mix of National Right to Work. And then at 8:05, Steve Malloy, Junk Science, talked to him about the EPA deregulations yesterday. All right, we've got some updates of sorts in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie.
Wait, Larry, happy Friday.
Oh, good morning, Patrice Onwuka. Yes, happy Friday indeed.
It's okay.
That. I apologize. I just want to get right to it. Somebody had done a humorous, we've reached the point now in the Nancy Guthrie disappearance case where people begin to start making sort of cynical, dark humor, not jokes, but observations. Not about Mrs. Guthrie, of course, and it's horrible.
Okay.
But they said that this is never going to be solved until Nancy Grace sets up shop right outside the missing person's house. Remember Nancy Grace used to be, this was her specialty.
She's good at this.
When she's on the case, when she starts doing nightly specials and brings in all the lawyers and all the people, that's when things happen. So we got to get Nancy Grace on. Where is Nancy Grace these days, by the way? Does she still have a show?
I'm pretty sure she was doing some work for Fox, but maybe that was last year. I don't know.
I can't remember. All right. Well, the FBI has increased its reward to $100,000 for any information leading to the location of Nancy Guthrie, which, by the way, means they're going to get a flood of even more tips. They're sifting through something like 18,000 tips right now, 13,000 tips since February 1st. So, get ready for more now that you've doubled. But that's hopefully one of those tips will prove to be edifying.
Well, and part of it is sometimes a $10,000 tip is not enough to motivate a coworker for turning in their, coworker, or a family member for flipping on their family member. But $100,000, that gets people thinking.
Yeah.
And you know what? He did it, or I know something here. So maybe that's why they're upping it.
They've also added some more identifying information after taking a fine-tooth comb to that Google Nest video from the doorbell of Nancy Guthrie. Here's what they say. Okay. Identifying details about the suspect have been confirmed after forensic analysis of the FBI's Operational Technology Division. The suspect is described as a male, approximately 5'9" to 5'10", with an average build, and he's wearing a black 25-liter Ozark Trail Hiker backpack. So they have identified that backpack right down to the brand and model name. We hope this updated description will help concentrate the public tips we're receiving. Since February 1st, we've collected 13,000 tips from the public related to the case. Every tip is reviewed for credibility, relevance, and information that can be acted upon by law enforcement. Threat intake examiners at the National Threat Operations Center and FBI personnel are supporting a 24-hour command post in which dozens of agents and investigators are assigned leads and tips to action each shift. That's a heck of a lot of people and a heck of a lot of resources on this case.
Yeah.
Also, they reminded media outlets that they should direct tips they receive to the FBI. And also, they're not going to comment on any tips and information they receive regarding ongoing investigations. All right, so it's this Ozark backpack that the person on this Google Nest doorbell camera was wearing. There's also some question about these gloves that have been found near the home. It was within a mile of the home that had been discarded. They appear to resemble, if not are, a match to the gloves that this suspect that was caught on the Google Nest camera was wearing. You can actually see because he's putting his gloved hands right up next to the camera, you can see a pretty good shot of them. And 2 gloves were found discarded about a mile away from Mrs. Guthrie's home. Those are being examined for DNA. or for any other clues that might lead to another lead with regard to the suspect. But other than that, that's all they got.
That's not much. Excuse me. And that backpack, I mean, maybe people will remember a family member or coworker wearing that backpack, but that's not probably not a common brand. So, a guy who's 5'9" to 5'10", average build. I mean, they don't have any clue on ethnicity, skin color. I mean, I guess you can rule out black men, right? But you have light-skinned black guys. I mean, it's still not very much. So unless the clothing can be identified by someone who knows a friend who dresses like that this guy is really, or potentially group of people, are really getting away with this.
I'm interested to know how these, and obviously these FBI experts are experts. They're the best of the best. They're amazing. How did they determine this is definitively a male? Because the person is covered head to toe except for, the eyes in the ski mask and I guess the lips.
Yes.
But otherwise, I guess you analyze the gait. I mean, but are gaits determined
a person who's been
specifically
taking sex hormones, a woman who's trying to present as a man after a long period of time, I mean, she could potentially have developed those kind of pectoral muscles.
I would think, yeah. I don't know.
It's interesting.
I'd love to find out how they determined this was a male definitively and not a female, because I've watched the video a few times, and it sure appears to be a man, or it appears to be someone who wants to appear like a man. But I can't tell myself definitively, but the FBI has determined. We're also having a bit of a turf war now, it appears, between the Arizona sheriff there, the Pima County sheriff, and the FBI with regard to key evidence. Fox News is reporting this. The federal officials said a decision made by the sheriff is risking slowing down the case that continues to grow more urgent by the minute as Mrs. Guthrie's health and life is in danger. According to a federal law enforcement source, the Pima County Sheriff, Chris Nanos, is blocking the FBI from obtaining key evidence. These are federal officials have asked Sheriff Nanos for the items that they have acquired so they could be processed at the FBI's National Crime Lab in Quantico. Nanos has insisted on sending the evidence for testing at a private lab in Florida instead of the FBI lab. According to the official, it risks further slowing a case that grows more urgent by the minute. The unnamed official also reportedly cited earlier setbacks at the investigation and criticized Nanos for not requesting FBI assistance in the investigation into Guthrie's disappearance sooner. There's been some criticisms of the Pima County Sheriff's Office pretty early on here, and this seems to be another thing that, again, why is there a turf war here? And why I thought the FBI usually, when they come on the field, they take over the investigation, but the sheriff apparently is drawing his turf borders as well.
Well, I mean, this is the wrong time to play who has the bigger gun here. I mean, to me, it seems like the sheriff should want and welcome the additional resources that the FBI can bring to bear. I mean, I'm going to guess that sending material evidence to another state is going to be costly, time-consuming, and that takes resources away from his own office, which he could be using to go after other crimes that are happening and still supporting the search for Savannah Guthrie's mom. The only thing I could think of, he wants to take credit for finding the assailant and finding the mom. And to me, that's an ego thing. That's not about who is best positioned to be able to bring this case to a conclusion. Yeah. It just seems like a lot of ego here.
It's 6:15. Well, this is a good development. Just about 6 weeks after the Department of Health and Human Services put new advisements out on how people who are on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP, formerly food stamps, how they are to be utilizing those federal benefits for nutrition. Nutrition, that's the second word in SNAP, nutrition.
That's right.
After that guidance from the feds, we're now seeing state after state after state and more states officially taking junk food purchase restrictions off of the list of eligible food that you can use those SNAP benefits for. And I know a lot of people are saying, how dare you dictate to people what they can and can't eat? And the answer is, well, we would never dare to dictate to people what they can or can't eat. But if we're paying for it, we get to say what you
we can put
can and
restrictions
can't
on
eat.
it.
Of course, because
Yes.
if all you eat is chips and Fritos and garbage, and then you end up getting diabetes and sick, and then we're paying
That's
for you.
right.
We're basically supplementing and underwriting your own illness that then we're going to have to pay for too because you can't afford any health
Exactly.
insurance. So Fox 5 has the write-up here. More states implementing restrictions on food purchases by SNAP recipients, banning them from using taxpayer-funded assistance benefits for purchases of junk food. As of February 15th, this Sunday, Idaho and Oklahoma will be restricting this. And on February 18th, Louisiana will jump in. Several other states are implementing these restrictions throughout the year. But this is a positive development if you really care about where your federal dollars are going and how they're being used, because I find it, frankly, insulting. If you need to reach out your hand and have the taxpayer subsidize your grocery bill, at the very least, you could actually eat food that is, good for you. And by the way, not super expensive. Have you seen how much a bag of Doritos costs these days? I mean, I'm not buying that stuff on my grocery bill because it's too expensive, and I'm not asking for a federal handout.
Well, I think it speaks to the larger question about, how do you keep people healthy, especially those who are poor and are relying on the government for their subsistence. But also, listen, if you now know that you can't buy the Cheetos and the Fritos and the Doritos and the prepackaged frozen TV dinners, it may force you now to buy other options. And you know what? You don't have to go totally fresh foods. I understand in there are places where it's harder to get fresh produce. There's still canned goods. You can utilize those canned vegetables. You can utilize some of those other options. And if you still want the junk food, nobody's stopping you from using your own money to pay for it. This is just saying that whatever the government is subsidizing, it's not going to subsidize unhealthy habits. And it's important because this is not, while this is affecting the adults, this is being teaching the children in their households about the kind of nutrition that they need to be consuming. And so hopefully it's going to filter down to those little kids so that those little kids don't have to end up with diabetes at a young age and carry that into their adulthood. I mean, this is about impacting not just the right now, but the future generations.
By the way, did you know that even though this is a good development and, we should take Doritos off the list of things and stuff like that, you can use your SNAP benefits to buy a Wagyu steak, like Japanese Wagyu beef.
Wow, that's expensive. Really?
Yeah. So you look at our fabulous executive producer, Heather Hunter, took a look at Wegmans' website where you can order your food at Wegmans.
Okay.
Right? Wegmans, shishi, high-end, super gourmet kind of place. You can get a A5 Wagyu strip steak for about $145. I think that's about an 8-ounce steak. Because the price is $191 per pound. Let's call it a 10-ounce steak for $145. And then as you look on the website, when you're looking at your A5 Wagyu strip steak for $145 at Wegmans, there's a little button there that says SNAP eligible. So you're
I guess because it falls into the meat category.
Well, yeah, but maybe hamburger is a better way to have your... Yeah, I'll even let you get the Wagyu hamburger if you want. But could we at least get ground beef with your SNAP benefits?
Well, what person in their right mind would take their $300 of monthly SNAP benefits and spend half of it on an 8-ounce steak?
I have an answer. Somebody who's defrauding the system and doesn't really need the SNAP benefits in the first place.
To begin with.
It's just free money. Why not waste it on whatever you want? Yeah. Oh, and by the way, one other residual thing. I'm sure this is unrelated, but Frito-Lay, PepsiCo, the owner of Frito-Lay, announced last week that it's cutting the suggested retail price of all of their Cheetos and Lays and Doritos and Tostitos by 15%. And it coincides directly with Frito-Lay no longer getting federal subsidies.
Larry,
through the SNAP program.
I took a video with the boys this week. We were at the grocery store, and they're printing on all the Frito-Lay bags Brand new price. I took a video
There
of
you
it.
go.
New price. They're literally printing it on the front of the bag. New lower prices. So it's all strategic. I'll post it on my my Instagram and my Twitter at
The
Patrice Pink
second
File.
they
Yes.
stop,
All right, good.
the second they are no longer selling
Subsidizing.
all of that stuff with federal subsidies through the SNAP program, suddenly the price goes down for the rest of us. It's 624.
Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 6:37 and everything's going great here on this Friday the 13th. Trust me. Coming up at 7:05, Mark Mix, National Right to Work, and at 8:05, Steve Malloy from Junk Science about the big announcement from the EPA yesterday. It's Larry O'Connor with Patrice Onwuka. Happy Valentine's Day, Patrice.
Happy Valentine's Day, Larry. And my tech glitch just now is nothing to do with Friday the 13th.
Yeah, no gremlins in the machine at all. Nicki Neily is the president and founder of Parents Defending Education and joins us now. And happy Valentine's to you, Nicki Neily.
Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for having me.
So this story out of Maryland is, ridiculous and unbelievable, yet completely believable because it's Maryland and it's the PTA. But are they really doing trainings right now for parents basically to become just like the ICE disruptors that we're seeing in Minneapolis?
Yes, absolutely. This is Montgomery County, everybody's favorite Maryland woke county, where insane councilwoman Kristen Mink, who, let's go back a couple years ago, when all the Mahmoud case stuff was starting with those families that wanted to opt out of the sexual education, she was the one who called everybody white supremacists, including the Muslim families, obviously. So she has a long history going back, advocating for defunding the police. She actually had also yelled at Scott Pruitt in a restaurant in 2018. Everybody forgets that. That was sort of her claim to fame. But she was the one who hijacked this PTA meeting, talking about urging parents to create a safe passage for illegal immigrants. So, when you give to the PTA, you think, all right, I'm going to raise money. They're going to buy more basketballs for the school gym. But that's totally not what is happening.
Well, and Nikki, when we think about the purpose of a PTA, I belong to my PTA, and it's about raising resources for the school to ensure that the kids have what they need, the teachers have the additional materials they need for instruction, and frankly, enrichment and programs. But now this PTA meeting, it was restricted, so you couldn't be part of the media. You couldn't be part. You had to be part of the Montgomery County school community, and you had to, and not be a law enforcement. By doing that, not only are they keeping the general public out, which is frankly funding the schools, but also it's sending a signal that there should be disruption between law enforcement and the educational community. Is that right?
Absolutely. And you look at the other groups that were participating in this. It's the SEIU. It's the Montgomery County Association of Administrators and Principals, the Montgomery County Education Association, the teachers unions, the Immigration Rights Collective, and the Fans of Asylum and Immigration Reform. So it's just, it's a lot of radical activists. As you said, when I get on my school's PTO meeting, we're talking about, all right, how do we raise money? What's the annual, what are we going to do for the new playground? It's not how do we prevent law enforcement from cooperating to keep our children safe?
Yeah. But they have gotten radicalized. This is what these groups have ended. Was it the PTA groups they were doing crazy stuff in Northern Virginia on the CRT and transgender stuff. Just like many institutions, Nicki Neily, PTA, well, it's not your mother's PTA, I guess, anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, and that's something just over the past 5 years running Defending Ed that has been so shocking to me. I always kind of grew up thinking school choice good, teachers unions bad, not realizing that every element of the education industrial complex is captured by this. I do think it's worth pointing out, Haley Strack from National Review reminded us all that in 2020, police actually had arrested a 20-year-old illegal immigrant at Montgomery Blair High School where he was enrolled because he had raped an 11-year-old girl. So you know what?
Goodness.
Maybe we do actually want police to be involved and having a little bit of oversight of these instances.
So is there any response here in terms of, there's nothing illegal what they're doing necessarily, but all of the so-called ICE response and organizing tools for PTAs, parents, and guardians, this was a training session held on January 20th, it ends up turning into, as we've seen in Minnesota, obstruction of justice. They end up, unless that's part of the training, here's everything you can do without violating the law, which is sort of also kind of an illegal thing because you're actually showing people how to skirt the law.
Right. It's encouraging people to skirt the law. And then the trickle-down effects then, right? Telling parents, there are some laws that are worth obeying. There are some that aren't. Mm-hmm. And then that gets impressed on children as well. And I think what's really scary to me is that watching now all of these activists and these unions push this activism onto our children, encouraging, leading the walkouts. About a week or two ago, there was a student actually that was hit by a car because she was in a walkout. So you think about the safety issues that are taking place, as well as also just the message sending kids when they're doing these walkouts. We're so proud of you. School doesn't matter. Your learning doesn't matter. After years of having COVID shut down, truancy is still a huge problem. And here we are yet again. Our children are being used as child soldiers in this progressive war. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk just briefly about the policies that some of these school districts are enacting. Your investigations have shown that that some districts like D.C., Baltimore County, Howard, Montgomery, PG, where I live, Arlington, Chesterfield, and Fairfax have actually been publishing guidance and policies on immigration and how to deal with ICE enforcement. Is there a way for parents to push back against this? Because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy that, we actually have a list of about 700 districts and counting that have passed either official votes that they're not going to cooperate with ICE or to give parents guidance, to give faculty guidance on here's how to not turn over information. And there are, real world consequences to this. The fact that so many immigrants came in under the Biden administration placed a real strain on our educational system. We FOIA'd a bunch of districts around the country a few years ago and found districts that had to repurpose facilities, to house migrants, et cetera, rezoning even. You think we all buy houses based on what school pyramid you're zoned into. So things like that are scary. But we do definitely encourage parents to speak up, use their voices. And if they're worried that they or their children will face retaliation, to let us know, because I think these are the kinds of things that consumers and constituents need to be aware of as they go to the polls this year.
Defendinged.org is the website, defendinged.org. And yes, if you're getting harassed or bullied or in some way ostracized by your PTA or by your school board or by your teachers because you're speaking out and defending your child's rights, let Nicki Neily know, and Nicki Neily will go and kick their butt. That's what she does.
That's what we do.
But she's very nice when she does it. Nikki, it's always good to talk to you, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
It's 6:44. 6:48 here on this Friday the 13th, which, of course, should terrify you in every possible way, doom and gloom. Trump is hosting a big event next week, the governor's event at the White House. Some governors are not invited, including Wes Moore, and it's creating a big, big scandal because Trump's racist or something. And here's the interesting thing. Wes Moore was invited last year, and Wes Moore snubbed the invitation and didn't go. So was that racist of Wes Moore to not go because he was invited?
Well, and also Jared Polis from Colorado was not invited. Jared Polis is not black. He's not Hispanic. So it wasn't, so it's not the case that it's just the one black Republican one black governor that was not invited. It's two governors who weren't invited. They are Democrats.
And by the way, he has also disinvited some Republicans as well.
Yeah, there you go.
It appears.
Equal opportunity.
Well, listen, the White House intends to limit invitations to the annual business meeting scheduled for February 20th. But they had said, it's only Republican governors that are invited. That's not true. Democrats are invited, and the, as he calls it, rhino governor of the great state of Oklahoma, in which I won all 77 counties 3 times, the only person to ever do so, said that he wouldn't be invited either. So I think that's what I'm getting at here. He went on in his True Social post to say, I even invited the slob of a governor, J.B. Pritzker, and horrendous California Governor Gavin Newsom to the dinner, despite the terrible job that they're doing. There you go. I don't know what to tell you.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
So again, it also needs to be pointed out that Wes Moore was invited last year. He chose not to go. He snubbed the invitation. This year, there was rumors, and I have no doubt that they're true, that Wes Moore planned to go and grandstand and make a big scene.
Oh, I see.
And so they decided not to invite him. Honestly, the things that It is kind of funny when you've got a governor who calls Donald Trump a fascist and unconstitutional and he should be impeached, and then they throw a hissy fit because they weren't invited to a big dinner at the Trump White House. It's like, yeah, how dare that fascist racist who should be impeached not invite me to the White House for a fancy dinner? It's like, but why would you even want to go if he's the next Hitler?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I understand larger point is that your governors need to work with the president for many issues. And will you agree on everything? No, absolutely not. You're not going to agree. But the point is being able to show up and demonstrate the points where that where you can actually work together. That said, if the president says, I don't want those two there, or I don't want those five there, it's his prerogative. The governors are still going to be able to get to meet, but I am
told by my intellectual and moral superiors that it is incumbent on Donald Trump to be the bigger man and to transcend all of the pettiness of the governors. After all, he's president, and he should be gracious and extend the invitation anyway, so that people can come in there and dump all over him. And I get it. That is the morally high ground thing to do. And after 10 years, I think we've learned that that's not necessarily the way Trump rolls. 6:52.